Hey guys, it's Dr. Drake 63 here today, and as promised, I'm going to do a shooting video today talking about the Colt Trooper Mark III 357 Magnum. This particular one is a 4-inch barrel, and did quite a detailed overview of the firearm itself. Lots of close, pretty pictures yesterday. Today's going to be more about shooting the firearm. I thought I'd get outside one more time before we go in the deep freeze here in Minnesota, and kind of mixed results. My fingers were freezing, for lack of a better word. But we did have some fun. Love the way the firearm operates. Does really well in cold weather. And now it's time to go indoors and see what we can do from an accuracy standpoint. So hope you enjoy this overview of shooting the Colt Trooper Mark III. You know, these guns are no longer available. They're kind of like the Pythons in that respect, or some of these pre-lock Smiths. You have to go and find them. Enough of them were made that they're out there, but you just have to know what you're looking for. And hopefully some of my previous videos have kind of helped you with that. I know I learned a lot making them. So let's see how this shoots today. And as always, I appreciate you joining me. So it's a nice nippy 10 degrees outside today. I don't expect I'm going to be out here too long. Normally I would bring multiple firearms out, but today we just want to see how this Colt Trooper in 4-inch is going to do. I've set up a target, as you can see in the back, and that's against an embankment out here at a construction site today, and we're gonna have some fun checking out the accuracy at 10 paces, or 30 yards, or I'm sorry, 30 feet, 10 yards. And in addition to that, we're gonna shoot some bright orange Fanta soda, which ought to look pretty cool on the snow when that goes off. So let's see how this gun shoots, and I'm expecting good things. We're gonna start out shooting this 158 grain American Eagle 357 Magnum. That's kind of my go-to stuff for range. Let's see how this little feller's gonna do. Well, my target fell over, and I don't know what to do about that today. I didn't bring a stand, but as far as the shooting of this firearm in single action, this thing has practically a hair trigger. It's crazy, but looks like pretty good accuracy, and we'll go take a look at that target now. So it fell over. What I was left with was taking some shots at the side, which isn't bad. I mean, nothing really to aim at. But as far as our initial shots, that's what we were doing. So, you know, how can I compare that to indoor shooting? I don't know. I'm gonna figure out a way to get that to sit up. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, and I'm already starting to get cold. Try some double action. Double action's real easy. Finger getting cold.
At this point, I'm not aware that I had a light strike problem.
So my first shot flipped her over, but then I came back and shot this group, but it's not ideal. It's laying flat at an angle. But this is where we had it down low. So that was shot number one. Flipped it over, and then there's my subsequent shot. So does this do a good job? Yeah. Let's shoot some orange pop soda cans, see how that does. Well, not quite the dramatic mess that I thought it would be. Actually, with the cold weather, those pop cans didn't blow up like I thought they might, but found that from a sight picture standpoint that I'm shooting just a little bit high, and I don't know if that's something I need to adjust for. I imagine if I go indoors and take some good look at some targets, and that's going to tell us whether we need to adjust that rear sight or not. But it did its job on those pop cans for sure. I want to tell you, my trigger finger in particular, is getting cold as all get out. So I think we're going to wrap up what we're doing for today. But I can tell you that the Colt Trooper Mark III in 4 inches for sure, a hell of a cold weather gun. That's without a doubt. But it shoots surprisingly not that different from the 6-inch barrel. I didn't know if I was going to get a lot more or a lot less kick. You know, every gun's different, but feels like pretty much shooting the same firearm. A little bit less sight radius, so I'm not going to shoot it as accurately. But altogether, just a very well-running machine. I love the trigger on this. Unfortunately, I'm not enjoying the trigger as much as I could, like I said, because I'm freezing. So we're going to do some indoor shooting with this. This right here is one heck of a firearm, and glad I was able to pick it up. Hope you enjoyed watching me try to hit stuff out on a very cold day in Minnesota. Welcome to wintertime, guys.
So we decided to take this indoors, warm ourselves up a little bit, and do some target shooting out at 30 feet. At this point, we were just checking for accuracy, and we're shooting in the single action mode. So at this point, I'm still not aware that I've got an issue with light strikes in double action. As is typical for me, it usually takes me a little while to figure out my sight picture, and again, these are non-highlighted sights, so going against a red background, better than going against black, but still a little bit challenging for me to start.
I'll let that goes
About this time, I'm realizing that I've most likely got a problem that's double action related, and it's probably related to a spring of some kind. If it was a problem with the firing pin, it wouldn't work with single action. It worked consistently in single action. I didn't discover this when I was outdoors shooting because I really wasn't doing much double action shooting. But as soon as we started doing that and some rapid fire drills and things like that, that's when we really realized we have an issue. So we tried several different kinds of ammo, and to no avail. It became pretty clear that we had a problem that was firearm and not ammo related. The good news is after some additional practice and fooling around with the frustration associated with the misfires, I was able to tighten up my groups. Here's my group of the day. This was actually in double action. Just had a couple of rounds skip in the process. But from an accuracy standpoint at 30 feet or 10 yards, very pleased with the way this firearm performed. I'm sure that it will be as accurate as I can be
We just need to resolve the issue with the misfires and double action, and I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Okay, so we're gonna clean this guy up, but just in terms of understanding what's going on with the light primer strikes, my guess is somebody lightened up the mainspring. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Lightened up the tension on that to give this kind of a hair trigger. And, you know, basically perfect function in single action. Double action is where we had the trouble with the light strikes. And I checked a couple things, compared it to this other version of the same exact firearm, and you know, the firing pin protrudes the same on each. That's not an issue. But I can tell just from the pull involved, both in single or the double action pull, that the 6-inch version, which functions perfectly in single and double action, has a stiffer pull than this does. In other words, it's noticeable. This is done on purpose. And both single and double action, this is a lighter pull. So my guess is that they've lightened this spring up, the tension on this spring, in an attempt to have a hair trigger. Okay, what you're looking at on the bottom is the mainspring, and that's of the 6-inch version. That, as I mentioned, works perfectly. So this mainspring comes down here, and as you depress the trigger, the hammer goes back, it compresses so. Okay, so you can see that right there. Now, this is the mainspring on the 4-inch. I used 3 different kinds of ammo and experienced this with all 3, plus some 38 I had with me. So this was not an ammo issue. This was not me with improperly seated primers and hand loads. This is specific to this firearm, and this is specific to this firearm. I'm gonna bet, because it's in double action only, specific to the tension on this spring. So I did learn this is a spring that can be replaced without taking the side plates off. It's actually a simple process. You see the hole right there at the bottom of that pin. You capture that with a paper clip or something of that ilk, a piece of wire, and then after doing so, this is just held in by this little bar right here, this little slot. It's not a big deal. It comes out and you can replace it, and I found the part I need.
Sometimes the shipping costs more than the part you're getting, but I think I'm getting off pretty easy.
Well, I'm going to try doing this myself first. I did find a video on that, and it's a readily available part. I just need to order it. So we'll keep you posted on that, but I'm fairly certain that what somebody's done with this is a homemade job of shortening this spring to lighten it up, to make this more accurate in single action, probably for target practice. Obviously, they didn't care that it didn't work in double action, or they wouldn't have done it. So, having done that little bit of diagnosis, we're gonna try that, and we'll let you know the results. It'll probably be, I'm guessing, a week or so before we're gonna have the parts we need and everything else. But overall, I'm not disillusioned by that in terms of this firearm. This is just, you know, welcome to the revolver world. Heads up to those guys that say that revolvers never malfunction. Sure they do, sooner or later. But this is, I think, malfunctioning because somebody turned this into a target gun of some type, and a new spring's probably going to fix it. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. So as always, I want to thank you for checking out my video today. This one ended up being a little bit lengthier than I wanted, but I did find out that A, the gun I've been wanting for a long time is a fine shooter and as accurate as I can be, and B, it needs a little bit of work, but it's something that I think is a pretty minor affair in the whole scheme of things, compared to things that can go wrong with a firearm. So we'll keep you posted. As always, thanks for watching. This is Dr. Drake 63 saying so long.